Well, we've come to the end of 2024, and what another great year it's been for the Chinese car industry. We've walked some enormous auto shows, we've driven some mega cars, literally. We've witnessed some incredible developments in design and autonomous driving, and we've witnessed some new brands as well. So for the final time this year, this is Inside China Auto, and this is our End of the Year Awards 2024. Yes, this is our End of Year Awards 2024, and as you can see, it has been quite an amazing year. But the good news is 2025 promises to deliver some even more fascinating cars, some more new brands, and possibly even a fully autonomous car. So what can you expect from this video? Well, we're going to start off by talking about the breakthrough brand of the year in 2024. Then we're going to talk about the surprise of the year, then the most innovative car or brand of the year, and then the best ADAS system. We'll then have a brief look into some predictions for 2025 and the cars that we're looking forward to before we get into our Car of the Year 2024. Let's take a look. So for our breakthrough brand of the year, we're going to count down the top three, and we're going to start at number 3 with iCar. iCar, of course, the small electric SUV subsidiary of Chery. They launched their 03 earlier this year and the 03T, which is a slightly larger version, and they've just launched the absolutely brilliant, the stunning V23, which combines some really modern, small kind of Suzuki Jimny type looks with very retro looks from cars like the BAW 212 and the Toyota Land Cruiser from the 70s and things like that. They're going to do pretty well, I would say. Their cars are excellent value, really good size. You've seen the V23. I'll show you the clips of that over the top. It's a brilliant little brand. They're currently doing about 5,000 to 6,000 sales a month. I expect that to go up because more people are going to buy that V23. I think 31,000 people put down a deposit within the first 8 hours of that car going on sale. So it should do really, really well. And of course, that brand is also going abroad, badged as a JQ in some markets. So they've got the J6, which is currently, I believe, in the Philippines and Thailand, and it should be going, hopefully, not confirmed yet, but hopefully we'll go to Australia at some point as well. So that's number 3. Number 2 is Leapmotor. They have come out of nowhere. Of course, they've been around for a while now. They've had the T03, which is now on sale in the UK. They've had the, what have they got? The C01 and the C11. They've now, of course, got the C16 and the C10 and the B10, which is also coming out later this year, probably start of next year, to be honest with you. Their sales have been absolutely incredible. They've grown from, I'd say, about 10,000 sales per month at the start of the year up to almost 40,000 sales. They'll probably top 40,000 sales by the end of the year. They've done a really, really good job. Of course, they've had a big chunk of them snapped up by Stellantis, so they can sell their cars abroad as well. But they're bringing out some really good value products, not the most exciting products in the world, but some very, very good value products. And of course, they've got electric and extended range electric as well. Currently, the EVs are going to Europe. I believe the extended range EVs are going to follow as well. And they're going to have a pretty good year next year, I would expect. They're doing really well, hitting just the right price point in China and offering a lot of value with their cars. And of course, who else could be number 1 on our list this year but Xiaomi, the consumer electronics brand more famously known for making phones and rice cookers and plug adapters and all kinds of things like that, decided about this time last year they were going to get into the car making business. They announced it, they launched their first car in April, and since then have sold over 130,000 units of their first car, the Suqi. It's a brilliant car. We've got a review of it in the top corner. If not up there, it'll be in the description below. It's a fantastic car. It's the most driver-centric car in China because most cars are not really that driver-centric, but it's also a really well-connected car as well. So it drives excellently, it's super fast, it looks gorgeous, and the sales are just going through the roof on that one. And of course, they have launched pictures of the Yuqi, the YU7 as well. That's going to be an SUV version. SUVs typically outsell the sedans by 3 to 1 in China. So that one might have even more sales in 2025. Look out for them because they're going to do really, really well. So for surprise of the year, we're once again going to count down the top 3, and we'll start at number 3 with Audi announcing the Audi brand. That's right, Audi, the German car maker, has announced a China-only brand called Audi, only with capital letters and no 4 rings on the bonnet. I've been saying for years that Western car makers need to consider having 2 policies, one for the rest of the world and one for China, because the consumers here are just so much different from those in the rest of the world. They want different things from European consumers. They want more tech, they want fully electric cars, they want super fast charging. And in order to compete in China, you've got to be quick. So Audi launched their E-Concept in the Guangzhou Auto Show this year. They built it on the platform from IM, I believe it's a 900 volt platform, and they're going to launch their first car in 2025, and there should be another 2 cars to follow that up as well. So Audi announcing the Audi brand in at number 3. Now at number 2, BYD topping 500,000 sales per month. That's right, they started the year at about 200,000 sales. Their sales really catapulted last year, did super well. This year, they've just blown it out of the water. In October and November, they hit 500,000 sales, 500,000 sales in 1 month. They are in about 81 countries around the world, but they're not really selling that many in all of those other countries except for China. So to do that, just in this market, they basically own about 1/3 of the entire electrified vehicle market in China. That's how big they are. They have just knocked it out of the park this year. They've got so many models. That's one of the reasons why they literally have a model for everything, plus some spares if they want to. And of course, they've got Yangwang and Denza and Fangchungbao in there as well. All brands that are also looking to go abroad as well in the future. So BYD in at number 2. And of course, the biggest surprise of the year was the demise of Geely, the rapid, almost overnight implosion of a company that wasn't doing that well, but seemed like it might soldier on a little bit longer. The reason it was a big surprise, not a surprise because Chinese car brands go bust, because several of them do. Usually it takes a long time, but it was a massive surprise because they're backed by 2 of the biggest companies in China. Geely, one of the biggest car makers in China, and Baidu, essentially China's Google, if not bigger than Google here in China. They didn't want to put the money in anymore, so something was catastrophically wrong at the company. It's a shame because their tech was good, their cars were fantastic. It all just fell apart overnight. Literally the day before I handed the car back, they had rumours that they were going bust. The day I handed the car back, they had workers protesting on site, asking to get their money from November and December. And then literally about 3 or 4 days after that, it all ended. It was all over. Big shame, because they're good cars. But nevertheless, that is the Chinese car industry. You have to win, you have to earn money to stay at the front. Okay, next up, most innovative model of the year. We're going to come in at number 3 with the Xiaomi SU7. The Xiaomi SU7, a stunning car, as I mentioned earlier in the video. It's got a lot of interesting tech in there. It's one of the only cars, actually, that allows you on the native Xiaomi system to connect both Android phones and Apple phones. And of course, you can put tablets in the back seats as well. They can all connect, iPad or Android-based systems, and they can all connect to the front seats as well. That car was really interesting because not only is it a very sporty family car, but it's also got, of course, autonomous driving for the city, which we haven't had a chance to try yet, and also a lot of real connections with your home, because Xiaomi has this ecosystem of products that you can connect to via your phone, and you can do that from the car. You can answer your doorbell to your delivery guy when you're out in the car. You can turn on your rice cooker simply by talking to the car. You can change your air conditioning, set the temperature of your home, put on your ambient lighting. You can do all this kind of stuff, and you can do it directly from the car, which is a big innovation in China. Not only that, as a sporty family car, it also had really interesting features such as plug-in devices for walkie-talkies, for a Xiaomi torch, and little spaces under the rear seats for umbrellas as well. Just some really nice, nifty ideas. And of course, they have launched the Ultra version as well, which is going to be a ridiculously fast version of that car. We will be lucky to get a drive of one of those if we can, but we'll see. They have, of course, set a Nürburgring lap record as well for a 4-door saloon. So yeah, one of the most innovative cars of the year is the Xiaomi SU7. In at number 2, we've got the Neo ET9, which we saw revealed at the Neo Day earlier in December this year. Of course, it was previewed last year at last year's Neo Day. It is innovative because of that super cool suspension that allows it to stay almost entirely flat going across bumps. We saw a video compared to the Mercedes-Benz S-Class Maybach, and you can see that the Maybach is wobbling around quite a bit more than the Neo is. The Neo is driven not only by the Neo boss, but also by the former boss of Volkswagen, Herbert Diess, who tested it with a 4-tier champagne glass tower, and none of the champagne was spilled and the glasses didn't fall down. So it's also got a lot of other cool features in there. It's got kind of 35 speakers, 2,800 watts of power in there. It's got speakers on the back of the seats. It's got reclining seats in the back. It's got a fridge. It's got a safe. It's got all kinds of cool things. It's got 5D suspension. So basically you can sit in the car and watch a movie and the suspension will shake to also give you the extra element of physical movement whilst watching a film or even playing a video game. So it's a really cool, innovative car. It's already sold out all of the first 999 units, and it's going to be a very big success, I would say, for Neo in 2024, and it's in 2025, and a big hitter up against the Maybach. I don't think it'll outsell it just yet, but it could do. Let's see. And of course, at number one, there is only one choice, which is the Zeekr Mix. Essentially, what Renault should have made, the Scenic, but they didn't. Zeekr have done it. It's got those barn doors that open on both sides, give you a channel of up to 1 meter through the middle, so your kids can play in the car. You can turn both the front seats around 270 degrees. You've got the floating island in the middle. You've got camping lights you can take out of the doors. It's got a fridge in there. It's got space for connectables, for things like cup holders and other things that Zeekr are going to come up with in the future. It's got really tight turning circle. It's a brilliant car. I absolutely loved it. If you want to check out our review of that, you can see it in the top corner over there. The Zeekr Mix wins our Most Innovative Car of the Year award. Next up, we've got the best ADAS system of the year. We've tried quite a few of them this year. We've tried Neo, Li Auto, Huawei, XPeng. We've also tried a little bit XPeng's new system with the Hawkeye without the LiDAR units. We've also had a little go of the Apollo Go system in the G-Year, and we didn't get to try the Xiaomi system because it wasn't available when we drove the car. But in at number 3, we've got Li Auto. Their system is very, very dependable. We did our most recent review of that in the summer, I believe, earlier this year. It was very, very good on the highway. It also handled itself pretty well off the highway, but it's not in as many cities as some of the other systems, and therefore it only comes in at number 3 on our list. Number 2 is the XNGP system from XPeng. Another very good system. As I said, we've tried both of their systems. We tried XNGP last year. We tried the Hawkeye system in the P7 Plus this year. Again, a very dependable system. It's very reliable. It works in many different places. It works in many different urban roads as well. We tried it in Kunming. We were able to give it a go there, and it was very, very good. Not quite perfect. Still makes a few little decisions that are maybe wrong. When I drove the P7 Plus, for example, it took me off at the wrong junction instead on the motorway. Instead of the second junction, it took us off at the first junction. So it's not quite perfect, and I'm not sure that taking the LiDAR off is going to make it a better system. LiDAR is, of course, a safety feature. It's like an airbag or a seatbelt, something that you should have in those 1% of cases when you're going to need it. So I'm not sure if going to vision only is the best way, but we'll see whether that works out for XPeng in the future. And at number 1, there is, of course, no other winner than Huawei. Their system, we tried it in the Avatar 1.2 in Kunming, was by far the best. It's confident. Many systems are confident, but they're not actually capable. The Huawei system is confident and capable. It found its way through many different situations that other cars struggled with. It was able to think on its feet. It reacted quickly. It did U-turns. It attempted U-turns, which none of the other systems did. So it did a really, really good job. Huawei is our number 1 ADAS system of the year. Next up, I'm going to make 3 predictions for 2025, and then when we do this video next year, we're going to see how true those predictions were. My first prediction, in at number 3, is that we will lose at least 2 brands next year, but we'll also gain at least 2 brands next year as well. Of course, this year, we've lost Evergrande, pretty much. We've lost Gear completely. Hi-Fi, very much in the background now. I don't think anyone's going to be saving them, but we'll see. A few others are on the ropes. I'm not going to say which ones are on the ropes for next year because it's a bit unfair to those brands. They do have a chance to save themselves, like Neo did, like Tesla did in the past. So I'm not going to say that's not fair to the workers, but I do think we will lose at least 2 brands next year. As I said, we'll also gain at least 2 brands next year. One of them already in is Firefly. This year we got Xiaomi, we got Onvo, we also got iCar, possibly a couple of other brands in there as well. So every year the market fluctuates a little bit up and down, but I think we'll lose 2 and we'll gain 2 next year. In at number 2, we will see a battery that can charge 10 to 80% in less than 10 minutes. That's what's going to happen in 2025. This year has been a great year for batteries, not only with CATL's Kirin battery in the Li Mega at the start of the year that can do 10 to 80% in 11.5 minutes, but also the Zeekr Golden Brick battery that usurped that as the champion, going from 10 to 80% in 10.5 minutes in the Zeekr 007 and the 7X and the other cars that it's also in. This year, we will definitely see a car going from 10 10 to 80% in less than 10 minutes. Some people might say, yeah, you can also do a battery swap on a Neo in less than 3 minutes. Not going to count that, but we will see more brands launching cars with battery swapping as well. I'll also add that in there as part of prediction number 2. And in at number 1, I predict that the Xiaomi U7 will deliver at least 100,000 units by the end of the year. That car is going on sale in the middle of next year, so it'll have even less time than the SU7 did to reach 100,000 units. But in China, SUVs tend to outsell their saloon counterparts by 2 to 1 or 3 to 1. So I think the U7 is going to deliver a lot of units for Xiaomi. They're going to go absolutely ballistic in 2025, and they're definitely going to need to add some more production capacity because they're not going to be able to keep up with the number of people wanting that car that looks very sexy and very much like a Ferrari Purosangue as well, but a much cheaper version. Speaking of the U7, let's move on to our next awards, which are the most anticipated cars for 2025. Not necessarily an award, this one, it's more just what we're looking forward to in 2025. And I'm putting the U7 in at number 3. I really, really want to drive that car. I think it's going to do, I hope that it handles as well as the SU7 did. I hope it adds even more tech and even more ability than the SU7 did. And I think it'll just be really interesting. I love cars that drive with some feeling. The SU7 did that really well. The U7 should do it as well. And with the extra space, they might even come up with some more really smart ideas for practical inputs into that car. In at number 2, the Avatar 06 Cabrio. If you watch our channel, if you've seen my Avatar videos, you'll know that I'm in love with the design language of Avatar. The 06 comes out at the start of next year, and we have seen spy shots of a cabriolet version of that car, which I did say when I first saw the hard top version of that car, it does look like a car that could do quite well as a cabrio. And then we saw the spy shots of that car coming out as well. I suspect that will come out by the end of next year, and I would love to give that a go. As of yet, we've only driven the MG Cyberster, I think, as a convertible in China, and we need more of them. We need more of them to enjoy the glorious sun that we have in so many parts of China throughout the year. So I'm really looking forward to driving the 06 Cabrio, and of course the 06 as and when we get a chance to with that as well. And in at number 1, we have the iCar V23. I've done a walk around video of the V23 on Twitter, I think it was. It's such a cool car. It looks absolutely brilliant. It's really compact, not as compact as a Suzuki Jimny. Many people will compare it to a Jimny, but it is quite a bit bigger than a Suzuki Jimny. But nevertheless, gives off the same vibes. Really cool retro look. Lovely little Easter eggs all over the car. Fold down flat seats. A lot of manual switch gear in there as well. You sit really close to the windscreen. It's just brilliant. It looks absolutely amazing. And I can't wait to give the iCar V23 a go in 2025, if I can get hold of one. Cherry, if you're watching, get in touch. Now, before we get on to the best car of the year 2024, let's talk about the best driver's car of 2024. And there are not that many contenders for this list because most Chinese cars are more comfort oriented than driving oriented. But of the cars that I've driven this year, I would put in at number 3, the BYD Song L. Now, I bet you didn't expect that I would have a BYD on this list, but believe it or not, the Song L and the Seagull are 2 of my favorite Chinese cars to drive. They're brilliant. The Seagull was just fun because it was front wheel drive and nippy and small and compact and had some good steering feel. The Song L, again, has good steering feel. The actual ability of the car might not quite live up to the feel of it once it's in your hands, but it felt very compact. It felt good on the road. It felt sharp. The steering had good weight and the driving position was really good as well. You get the base cushion extension, a lot of tilt angle adjustment. BYD do a really good job of giving you the things that you want in the West. So actually that's one of their key selling points, I would say, over other Chinese brands. Now, in at number 2, I did say in my video of this car that I would personally choose it over number 1 in our list, but I'm going to put it on number 2 here for the best driver's car, and that is, sadly, of course, the GU 07, which is an SEA platform car. And as I said before, all of the SEA platform cars drive really, really nicely. But for me, the GU 07, as well as being a very techie car, was really good to drive as well. It had great handling, good steering feel, at a good driving position. You felt fairly low down in the car. It just felt very dependable. There's a lot of power in the dual motor version of that car, but it felt like it could take all of it and it wouldn't throw you off the road. The only thing that ruined it for me was the yoke steering wheel, which is not a sporty steering wheel at all. So it kind of took away a little bit from that driving experience. But nevertheless, GU 07 in at number 2. And number 1 on our list is, of course, the Xiaomi SU7. What a fantastic car to drive that was. a ridiculous amount of power on tap. I tried the max version in Beijing. I tried the single motor version down in Kunming. Both of them were absolutely brilliant, but it was just amazing to drive. It's got great steering feel. It does have a very sporty driving position, good sporty steering wheel to match as well. But it's got a lot of grip. It feels really quite sensitive if you're a pro driver. And I do think that the SU7 needs a pro driver to really extract the most from it. I think most ordinary people, it's kind of wasted on them, to be honest, because it is a dangerous car. It's so quick, and that catches a lot of people out. But it's got really great driving experience. It's super fluid. It's very good inside. A lot of feedback from the car itself. You've got big chunky rear wheels, so the grip is very good. It goes exactly where you tell it to. Very pointy steering. It's a marvelous driver's car, and the Xiaomi SU7 takes our #1 best driver's car of 2024. And that leads us to our top 3 cars of 2024. And believe it or not, none of those 3 cars make it onto our list. Now, this is only personal, okay? Most people would definitely put the Xiaomi SU7 as #1 on this list. This is my personal favorite. So next year, what I might do is invite input from other people, from you, the audience, to see if we can kind of get more of a surprise award ceremony and see the kind of cars that you think are the best cars coming out of China in 2025. But for this year, it's my opinion. And we'll start at number 3 with the Li Mega. That basically kicked off our 2025, and what a brilliant car that was. Very interesting to look at. Some people will love it, some people will hate it. It was compared to a Coffin a little bit unfavorably by Chinese social media, which has put a dent in the sales, I would say, but it is a brilliant car. Super smooth compared to the Toyota Alphard, which is kind of the most expensive MPV in China because you have to import it from Japan, and it's the favored car of the rich to be carried around in. The Mega is just so much better. It's got the triple screen setup, it's got a super smooth drivetrain, charges 10 to 80% in 11.5 minutes. It's really, really quiet. The ride quality is impeccable with the air suspension. I think you've seen a lot of other social media users in the US at the moment who are getting to drive the Mega saying pretty much the same thing about it. It is a brilliant car, and it gets number 3 on my list. But number 2 is yet another MPV, which is the XPeng X9. And the XPeng is better than the Mega for me because it offers better value for money, but also it's got a few key things that make it just that little bit better. So the ADAS system for us, of course, number 2 on our list compared to Li Auto in 3rd place, is a better autonomous driving system. But the really cool thing about the X9, 2 things actually. One, the third row in the car folds into the boot, which is just brilliant. Folds into the boot floor, so you get a lot of space in the back. You can get 4 bikes, I believe, in the back of the car, even with the 2nd row still there. And it's got rear wheel steering, which is such a boon to have. It's brilliant for driving in small areas. A big car like the X9 shouldn't be that easy to drive in tight areas, but the X9 really is because of the rear wheel steering. And that for me nudges it above the Li Mega as the 2nd best car of 2024. And of course, at number 1, there can only be one car, and it's another MPV. It is, of course, the Zeekr Mix, my absolute favorite car of 2024. It's already our most innovative car of the year, but it was such a cool car. They call it the baby bus in China, and of course, I have a 1-year-old daughter at the moment, and I'm looking to put her in a car that is kind of safe and functional and cool, something that we can go out into the wilderness with and kind of enjoy as a bit of an extended space from home. No car does that better than the Zeekr Mix. It's more compact than the other 2 on this list. It's got really tight turn circle. It's got super fast charging, 10.5 minutes from 10 to 80%. It's got that super cool interior that can move in so many different ways. You can turn the seats around, face outside. It's got a big panoramic roof, loads of spec. It's got a fridge. It's the perfect family car. And at this phase in my life, that's why it is my number 1 car of the year, 2024. Congratulations to the Zeekr Mix. So with that all said, I want to end this video with a personal message, which is to say thank you. Thank you to everybody who's watched our videos this year. Special thank you to everybody who's pressed that small but meaningful subscribe button below the video. It means a lot to me personally. It's also very useful for the channel because it helps us to get more cars, helps us to spread these videos to more people around the world. Thank you to everybody who's liked our videos. And again, a special thank you to everybody who has commented on our videos, all the good ones and the bad ones. I do still try to reply to every single first comment on the channel. Thank you so much for the feedback. I try to implement it into our videos in the future, whether it's bad camera work or shots that I've missed or the angles that you don't like. I do appreciate it, and I do try to implement that into the videos. And with that, I've got one final request for the year, which is to say, what are you looking forward to in 2025? Let me know in the comments below. What kind of cars you're looking forward to? Let me know what kind of videos you want to see, what you like and don't like about our channel. Of course, we do videos of car reviews, we do auto show walkthroughs, we do factory tours. I've got a whole bunch of those on the editing table, waiting to come out next year as well. In 2025, we're going to start doing some more long form content, so driving some long journeys in China, revealing interesting places in this country, along with cars alongside. And of course, we've got our podcasts as well on ICA V2. Hopefully they'll get more organized and we'll get more of those in 2025. But please let me know, what do you want to see from our channel in 2025? And with all that said and done, I want to say thank you one final time. If you want to stay up to date with the Chinese car industry, the latest news and information, go to InsideChinaAuto.com. We've got news on there and we've got our videos as well, and hopefully we'll get even more content on there in 2025. And for one final time in 2024, thank you for watching. If you do, thank you for subscribing. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up so more people can see videos like this coming out of China. And as ever, I'll catch you next year.